Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. Have a great turnout. We have a great show prepared by the Henderson Police Department, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. Thank you all for coming. I'm Don Manning. I'm chair of the Neighborhood Watch program here in Sun City Anthem, and we have a lot of our officers here today. Kathy O'Connell is vice chair, and a number of others that I won't go through. They're the ones in the orange vests who welcomed you out here. Please turn off your cell phones so that they don't interrupt the program. Did everybody get a raffle ticket? Okay. It could be worth $100, so be sure you have a raffle ticket. What we'll do is after I'll turn the program over to Officer Alex Alcantara of the Henderson PD, and pardon me, I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant Delgado of the Henderson PD, and then he'll introduce the successive Henderson PD speakers. After the Henderson PD speakers, we'll have the drawing, and then after the drawing, you can all adjourn. I'm sure you saw the SWAT vehicle out front, and there'll be a K-9 unit demonstration on the north lawn. So after the raffle drawing, we can all adjourn to our preferred SWAT or K-9. So with that, let me turn it over to Sergeant Delgado of the Henderson PD.
Good morning, good morning. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you for having us, appreciate it. My name is Julio Delgado. I'm a sergeant with the Henderson Police Department. I want to introduce my co-workers and my chief here on my right-hand side to your left. Starting with Sergeant Adams, K-9, Officer Kenny, SWAT, Officer Barr, K-9, Officer Jerry Knazenberg, K-9, and our fearless leader, Holly Chadwick, Chief. Yeah, let's give her a hand. Let's go. All right, well, thank you again for having us. This event is, you guys put on a really good event. And I want to tell you guys do a really good job of partnering with us to make sure that we bridge that gap between police departments and communities. So this presentation today, we're going to talk about a handful of things. Chief's going to come up. She's going to go ahead and talk about the station. K-9's going to come up. They're going to talk about their stuff. SWAT as well. And at the end, they're going to have a demonstration. K-9 is going to be in the back. SWAT's going to be in the front. Chief Chadwick is going to be on the floor to answer any questions at the end of the presentation if you want to take a picture with her and go from there, okay? By the table over there, my MC for the day is going to be Alejandro Alcantara. Give him a hand real quick. He's your CRU officer extraordinaire. And we'll get going. Chief Chadwick, let's give her a hand. Let's go. Come on, guys.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me to come back and speak to you. I know we were here, I think in March or April of last year, and we get the opportunity to come back, and we're always happy to come back and talk to our community. Just to let you know a little bit about me, I'm in my year and a half now as your chief of police. I did grow up in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a UNLV graduate, and I've been with the Henderson Police Department for 23 years, and I live in Henderson, of course, ever since I've been with the department because I want to live where I serve the community. I can tell you the journey that took me to policing was 9/11. Prior to 9/11, I was living out of state and in my mid-20s, living my life, and then 9/11 happened, and I thought I need to serve my country and community in some form, and I wanted to come home and serve it at the local level. So then I came back and got hired with Henderson within the year, and I've been with Henderson for 23 years now, and it's been an absolute honor and privilege to wear this badge and serve this community. Just a little bit about my career. I do have college degrees, and I have all the way up to my doctorate. As my staff knows, I'm somewhat of a nerd, and I love education, I love learning, and I love being what I try to tell everyone, a student of the game. Make sure you're well-versed in what you do and understand what you do so that you can lead and supervise and serve properly. And throughout my career, I've had wonderful opportunities in different assignments to do the things that I wanted to do for our community. One of the most notable ones, coming off of October 1 of yesterday, I was the commander of the SWAT team when we deployed down to October 1. I believe Officer Kenny was with us as well that night. And we were also there for the week after, helping contain that scene and keep everything safe for the community while our federal partners came in to do things. So October 1 is always a heavy day for us, but it's also a positive reinforcement of how far we've come and how far we have become embedded in our community with making sure we continue to keep everyone safe and serving this community and making sure that those kind of things don't happen again. By working as a team with Metro, with North Las Vegas, we have a very talented group in this valley where we all work together. Boundaries don't stop us, so if something's going on in Metro or Henderson or North Las Vegas and we need everyone, we all answer the call to go help, just like we did last summer with UNLV. We are always there for everyone. As far as your Henderson community, we have a lot of wonderful things going on that I'm going to tell you about today. And then I'm also going to talk about your new area command. And then from there, you can ask whatever questions you want. I can tell you right now, the crime trending across Henderson. Oops, sorry. I'm not going to pick that up either. I might not get back up with all this gear on. We are trending down right now in violent crime, which is very, very positive. Violent crime to us is the most significant because it harms individuals. So the fact that we're trending down and we're handling those very well is very important to us. We have a little bit of uptick in property crime, and some of those things are really us working on making sure that we continue to remind the community that you are our eyes and ears. We truly believe in see something, say something. If you see something, because you know your neighborhood's better than us, and it doesn't look right, please call us, because we will come out and check those. And I can tell you, a lot of times when we do that, we stop crime before it happens, and it's because of the community efforts. On the back end, community efforts as well. When you're good witnesses, when you tell us, hey, I saw something here, I grabbed a plate, I saw this, I saw that, those are leads that help us track things down. We have a very robust department with crime intelligence analysts, and how we have one assigned to each area command. So right now, you are all part of the central area command. Next year, half of this area will probably be looped into our new Inspirada station, which will then be the West Area Command. And we have analysts that are assigned to each area command to pull data. And with that data, then they send it out to our patrol squads so that we know exactly where we're putting our enforcement efforts. It's strategic, it's smart, and we make sure, again, someone was asking me, the more you have out there, does it prevent crime? It absolutely does. Just our mere presence can be a deterrent. If you see a patrol unit driving through the area and there's somebody there that may have wanted to commit a crime, they're not going to because they see us there, right? And that's just a mere deterrent. Now, there's no way we can quantify that, but we know it happens. We also have a reputation that's coming back, which I love. I've heard it a few times from my patrol officers now when they arrest somebody. The comment is, I knew I shouldn't have come to Henderson. You guys don't mess around. We love that reputation. We do not mess around. I think that's a testament to all of our patrol officers. We respect everybody's rights. If you've ever encountered my officers, they are absolutely the utmost professionals, but we will handle things the way we need to handle them. We will take people to jail when we need to. We will write very thorough and extensive reports so that when it goes to court, the judges have very easy decisions to make, and that is our job. That's why they're very highly trained. These officers go through in-service training every year. We have post-standardizations we meet, and we are constantly keeping up with case law and the changes in the communities so that we are the best, smartest, most well-trained police officers. So when we're out there serving you, we can do it the best way we need to do it. Some other things that are coming into play that you'll see soon, we have 46 new license plate readers that will be going out onto certain traffic poles. What those are is basically when they sit on these poles, they capture every plate going through that intersection. The reason we do that is because now if somebody reports, hey, a crime just happened over here and it was a silver, Toyota, well, now we can pull plates from that intersection around that time and it gives us leads. It helps us. It's called our force multiplier. All of this technology that we can utilize to become a force multiplier to help us solve crime, that's what we like to do. Those are going to be mobile mounted, and understand those are going to be cellular, not fixed. The reason being is we can now take those down and deploy them in different areas. So again, when our analysts come to us and say, hey, we're maybe having a hot spot over in this area, we can move those license plate readers and put them in different areas to help capture data to help us solve crime. In addition, we have one patrol unit outfitted with license plate readers on every shift. So when my shifts deploy out, there's one. And these are just automatically, the officer doesn't have to do anything. Wherever they're driving, the system is just automatically picking up the plates and putting them in a database. This database is shared again with Metro and North Las Vegas. So again, as we work as a multi-jurisdictional unit through the valley, we are partners to help each other to, again, solve crime. Because we don't just stop, we wish crime stopped at the border, whether in your Metro, Henderson, North Las Vegas, it doesn't. That's why we all partner together, because we want people to know you can't just not come to Henderson, You can't just go to Vegas. You can't go to North Las Vegas. We don't allow crime in this valley, and we are going to do everything we can to make sure we keep everyone safe. Because at the end of the day, our primary goal is to make sure when you go home at night and you lay your heads down to rest, you know you're in a safe community. You know where they're watching and monitoring things, even when you're asleep at night. My first 3 years on the patrol, I worked graveyard, and I loved it because when you were all sleeping, I was going through your neighborhoods and checking on everything to make sure you could sleep soundly, and that is our job, and we know it's a privilege to do these things to serve our community. I love police work. I love waking up every day and putting this uniform on. There's been a joke lately the last week because I did a traffic stop last week, and when I called out what I was doing, dispatch took about a 10-second, it was silence. And I was like, did they hear me? But I guess everyone was like, is the chief out there doing traffic stops? I was. They talked me into it, whoever was driving recklessly, but I'm not afraid to do it either because, again, we know our roadways are very, very tough right now. I do not like the driving that's going on, and it takes all hands on deck to get this situated. But again, it comes back to community members that need to start driving better for us and doing things that we need to do so that we're safe on our roadways. A couple of the critical things that are going on right now are my fatals. My fatals are up. Unfortunately, the fatals are up throughout the whole valley, fatal traffic accidents. And I wish I could pinpoint one thing, but it's not just one thing. It's some of them, they're driving under the influence. Some of them are pedestrian error. Some of them are bicyclist error. We have a big issue right now with these e-bikes and our youth on these e-bikes because these things go extremely fast. Some of these youth are not following the rules of the road, and they're not wearing helmets. And even though you may, as a bicyclist, have the right of way, you're not going to win that battle if a car bumps into you. And so we're trying to make sure we're doing educational efforts out there so that we can help parents understand, too, that you can't just buy your kids these e-bikes and have them flying around the valley. It's going to result in, unfortunately, a fatal. And we've had a few this year with youth under 18, which is very, very difficult for everyone involved. So again, part of our job is preventative. Part of it, though, is my community members need to step in and make sure that they're handling their areas as well. And by that, I mean parents and kids and those other things. One of the biggest things we can ask from our community is don't be a victim of circumstance or opportunity. And what we mean by that is do not leave valuables sitting on your car seats where everyone can see them. Secure your vehicles, secure your homes. Again, I understand it's not okay for somebody to break into your car. That is your car, and they shouldn't be doing that. But we do get a lot of crime of opportunity where if they're just out looking and they see an iPad or a purse or a wallet sitting on that seat, they will pop your window and take that and run because it's a crime of opportunity, and then unfortunately you become a victim of crime. We see that a lot of times. I don't like those, and they're harder for us to really track down suspects. We still do, though, because, again, we package everything together and figure out who is in the area. But I can tell you at the end of the day, if my biggest problem is property crimes versus violent crime, I'm okay with that because we can replace our iPads. It's very hard for me to replace human life. But again, we don't condone any of that crime, and we work very hard on it. But as neighbors and residents, we do ask for you to make sure you're securing your valuables. One of the biggest things is if you own a firearm, please secure those. Unfortunately, we get a lot of firearms stolen out of cars, and then they hit the street. 3 years ago on Christmas morning, I had a stolen firearm pointed at one of my officers, and luckily they were not good shots, and my officer was okay. But again, when people talk about gun control and crime, it's our duty if we own firearms to make sure they're secured because then they get into the wrong hands, and we don't want that for our community. Some other technology we have coming in that's working wonderful for our community is our SWAT team now has drones that they can deploy on scenes to make sure we get a different bird's eye view of stuff and make them much safer. We also have drones that go out to our crime scenes with our crime unit and also with our traffic unit. And these drones can go up and kind of diagram an entire scene for us in very, very quick time and very accurately. So again, we're talking about doing more with less. It chops the workload of our officers in half, this technology, and then again, it can get my officers back out to another scene. We all have cell phones now issued to all of our patrol officers, and they have ticket writers in their car. So it used to be, back in the day, we would handwrite these tickets. It would take us about 10 to 15 minutes. Now they can do it from their cell phone. Everything's automated. They scan the DL, the driver's license, they put it in their phone, it prints in the car, and within 5 minutes, we can issue a citation and get those officers back out on the road. Again, we don't like to write a bunch of cites, but we will, because if that's a deterrent to get people to slow down, we will absolutely do it. But now, again, leveraging technology to make sure we're more efficient and can get things done quicker and get our officers back out patrolling the streets, because, again, the more visible we are, the more we deter crime. I will talk to you about your new area command. It is a fantastic building. We currently have, since it opened last year, we've have our academies running out of there. We just started 2 weeks ago, an academy with 37. That is our largest academy to date. That's, again, a testament to all of our rank and file, our officers, our recruitment division, everybody who's going out there and making sure that, again, we let people know what a noble calling this is. Just so you know, though, we don't take anyone. We have a very strict background you have to complete and get through to even become an officer. And then from there, we do run a stress academy. There's reasons for that, because we need to be them to be prepared when they go out in the real world. We don't want anyone injured with what goes on in the realities of police work. And then we have a very strict field training program where we train them up once they graduate the academy. So it takes about a year for an officer to get through all of this and go out solo. There's a reason for that, because the end product is very, very highly trained officers that, again, police your community. So again, we have an academy going out of there. We also have our cadet program. That is new. We just started it this summer. We had 5 cadets graduate from that. And what that is we have an Explorer program that we start at 16 that goes up, but we were realizing at 18 to 21, we're missing potential applicants that we could train up to then become the applicants we need to become a police officer. You cannot be a police officer unless you're 21 to graduate. So from 18 to 21, we didn't want to lose the youth that are really, really interested in law enforcement. So we just did our first cadet program. We have 5 in there that are outstanding. And it's fun to watch them and see the future down the road of what this police department will continue to be. And that is all operating out of that new area command. It's called, it's Via Inspirata. They call it West now, but I always call it Via Inspirata, so I know which area command I'm going to. But you guys all know it's right off of Inspirata. It's beautiful. We have a brand new dispatch center on the 2nd floor. They will be moving in full-time in March. The reason for the delay on that is we have to have certain fiber optic lines laid in the ground, and that just takes a minute with the companies that have to do it, because very specific companies have to go in and lay these fiber optics in the ground. So that we have redundancy. And the reason we need redundancy is you have 2 separate lines that work separately, so heaven forbid if one line goes down, the other one automatically kicks in, so we never lose our dispatch center. Because again, our dispatch center, 911, 311, that's the lifeline. Everything starts with them and comes out to us through our radios. So we never want to lose that for our community. Henderson has their own dispatch center. Okay, the rest of the valley shares a dispatch center and has a joint one. We in Henderson have our own. And there's always talks about, hey, will you come join us or do joint? We will not. And the reason being not that we don't want to partner with everyone else, but because there's a service we provide here in Henderson. We are fully equipped with our own dispatchers that do police and fire. We're highly trained, and that is what we want for the Henderson community. You need to know that when you call 911, we answer within 15 to 18 seconds. From the time you dial, it goes through the airwaves, whatever that cloud guy is, circles back and hits our phone lines. Within 15 to 18 seconds, we're answering those phone calls to get life and death services out to people. That is a testament to our dispatch unit and how hard they work. When they move in March, we will eventually have up to 32 separate consoles that, again, do training, dispatch fire, dispatch police, and handle everything for Henderson. We will also still have a backup dispatch center in another building because, again, redundancy. If for any reason we have some sort of weather or catastrophic event that hits our phone lines this way, it kicks back to the other one. We're very clear about that because we never want our dispatch centers to go down. We also have a backup. So a few months ago, unfortunately, the 911 system went down in certain states. We have a backup on our cell phones so you can call in on a separate line through cell phones and through the internet so you still get services. And as soon as we find out something's going on, we push all of that information out so that everyone knows how to get a hold of us. That issue was resolved within an hour. But again, it takes seconds for people to lose lives, so we don't want that. All of our officers are also highly trained on first aid and immediate need and care. We all have defibrillators in our vehicle as well as trauma kits for first aid. The reason being is we can usually get to scenes quicker than fire. Now, I usually make fire jokes, but really the truth of the matter is they drive very, very heavy equipment. It's much harder for them to get to these scenes as quick as we do. So we are all highly trained to get on these scenes and provide triage and first aid and do whatever we need to do until they get in and escalate the level of what they need and then transport anybody who's in need of help. These officers are amazing. 6 months ago, I had three officers, I believe, run into a burning building and rescue a child and the dog. Again, we're not trained to do those things. They didn't hesitate. If you saw them on video, they're like, hold your breath and let's go. And they went in, you can hear them coughing, but they saved an 8-year-old. What better calling is it than go in and save a life? So remarkable men and women. They do a fantastic job for us. I'm privileged to get to be part of this community and serve them. And also in your new area command, just so you know, we will be factoring in all of your patrol divisions as well, starting in January. Right now, we do have swing shift deploying out of there. We will be then pulling that swing shift back to the West Area Command and adding a brand new swing shift out there as force multipliers. So in January, you will have a new captain, lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and swing shifts 7 days a week on our swing shift hours deploying out of there. By next August, you will then have day shift and graveyard. So the way our numbers are going, the manning, the recruitment, the academies, everything's factoring in. So by next August, dispatch is there, my academies are still there, and a full staffing station is there. And then once we have that station staffed with bodies, we will then split the valley in what's called 4s. Right now, we're split in 3s, so there's 3 area commands. We have East, North, and Central, and we divide the valley in 3s to know how we're deploying our resources and how many bodies and patrol squads we have supervising and out there patrolling. When we go to the new area command, it'll then go into 4s. And then again, you'll have more staffing circling the valley. But just know one thing I make sure everybody knows, it never matters to us what station we deploy from. Wherever we get the call for service, we go. Dispatch has a system where they can show the closest officer on their system, and they will deploy them, again, to get us to scenes quicker and efficiently as possible using our force multiplier of technology. So there's a lot of working things behind the scenes. We also have a Citizens Academy. If some of you have attended, it's wonderful. I believe it's 8 or 10 weeks, one Tuesday every night. We do it 2 or 3 times a year. So if you've ever been interested in our Citizens Academy and you want to participate, please look for those when we open those up again. It's an amazing insight into what we do. And then also we have our volunteer program, which is very robust. I have almost 200 volunteers that work in different areas of our police department, our corrections division, animal control. So many people from the community that come in to help us and contribute in meaningful ways and really help us get to things we can't get to and also make a tremendous impact. So we're always grateful for our volunteer program, the community efforts, everything we have going on. Did I cover most of the area command stuff? And then I am happy to answer any questions or address anything you have or anything I may have missed. I think they have a mic somewhere. Go ahead. I think I can hear you.
Excuse me. Use this. Use microphones.
Oh, I'm sorry. One question regarding the registration of cars. I see so many cars running around with no license plates.
Yeah, so we monitor and enforce if your car isn't registered, but we aren't in charge of registration. It's the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. So there are rules and regulations from when you move into town. You have so many days to then re-register within the valley. We don't regulate what DMV does. Having said that, if they're on our roadway and we pull them over, we can and will cite them for failure to register and same with insurance, same with other things on that vehicle. And then it kind of forces the issue where they need to go to court and or get their vehicle registered. So that is part of the traffic issues in the valley is we have people not registering their vehicles. We have a lot of people moving in. And then we have, of course, seems like everybody wants to participate in F1 this year, the way they're driving on our freeways. So we're trying to work on that as well. But yes, we do enforce that whenever we come into contact. All our officers know how to run the plates, and it'll pop up on their system as soon as they run a plate if it's showing expired registration or stolen vehicle or anything else going on. Hi.
So my question is about the people who run red lights. What's the position of the city of Henderson supporting red light cameras?
I support anything that will get our community to slow down and save lives. Having said that, that is a state law that we don't have red lights. So again, that has to go to your legislatures. They have to change the law because we've had this conversation for years, but we as a police department, Metro North Las Vegas, we cannot enact that rule. It's a state law that we don't have those for a lot of legal reasons. And so your legislatures now have to vote for that and put that into place. We do have on certain lights in the valley called red light indicators. What those are is if you run a red light, basically it's just something that sits on the back of the light and allows my officers to sit on the other side of the intersection. So they're not facing the light, they're on the other side. So if you run that red light, they're sitting right there and can look, and they can see it was red by the indicator, and then they can pull you over safely. I think what you see sometimes is we'll be behind a car, and they may run the red light. Well, for us to run that red light with them to pull them over could become a safety hazard because now everybody else is crossing traffic. So we've put those throughout the valley. I think we have 12 or 15 right now in certain high-profile intersections, and then sometimes you'll see my traffic officer sitting on the other side. It's much safer for them to watch that. As soon as you run the red light, they will pull you over and cite you. But again, all the technology in the world we could put up, we can put up red light cameras, red light indicators, we can do all this stuff, but if we don't get people to start following the traffic laws, it becomes a very big issue. So again, to answer your question, I support any efforts we can do as a state and as a city to get people to slow down and drive safely on our roadways. Yes.
There are millions of illegals in this country. When someone commits a crime, do you run a background check on them? And if they're found to be illegal, do you report them to ICE?
So to answer that question, if somebody commits a crime, we investigate that crime and arrest them accordingly for that crime. Once they go into the system and go to our detention center, from there are protocols put in place to address that through our federal partners, because we are not immigration, we are local police. So again, we don't give people slaps on the wrist. They get arrested and have to go to court and have to face what they did in the crime in our area. And then from there, the federal partners can step in and do what they need to do with ICE and immigration. Yes, ICE and immigration. Once they're in our jail, yes. Burglary is not a minor crime. We will arrest you and you will be in our jail. Once they're in the system, in our jail, things get reported. Yes, ma'am.
Is the fire department also moving into the Inspirada location?
Where are you at?
Right here.
Oh, sorry, okay. We'll say that again?
Is the fire department also moving into the Inspirada location? I'm asking this because on the 4th of July, we were parked by the school there to watch the fireworks, and we were booted out because we were told the fire department was moving in there and they had too much equipment for us to be parked there.
Are you talking about our station, or are you talking about the building next door, the Center for Excellence?
The Center for Excellence.
I believe they are using that as a temporary housing location while their new fire station is being built.
Okay, thank you.
They wanted to move into our station, and no. Because the difference between that is because fire sleeps there, right? We're 24/7 operation, but we have shifts coming in and out. Fire's a 24-hour operation where they're on 24-hour to 32-hour shifts, and they sleep at the station, they eat at the station, they do all these other things. We're not set up with kitchens and cots and everything else. So again, we do try to value our partners, but at some point in time, I can't have cots in a police station for them to sleep. So then they moved into that, the building next door, which I believe half of that building, they were able to outfit with their cots and everything else, but it is temporary for them to be there until their new fire station is built, or it's being rehabbed. I think we have two different things going on, but up here it should be a brand new one, because I don't know that we have an old fire station that needs to be rehabbed up here, so yeah. Thank you. Plus, they don't eat donuts, and we don't let people in our building that don't eat donuts.
You said that you had the red light cameras. Is it a legal requirement to have a front license plate on your vehicle?
So we don't have red light cameras, we have red light indicators, but to answer your question, the NRS rule for license plates is if you have a front bracket on a vehicle that should hold a license plate, then yes, you were supposed to have a license plate on the front. They make that accommodation because I think there's older vehicles in the valley that don't have a bracket on front, and so therefore they can't put one on the front. But yes, you were supposed to have license plates on front and back if you have the bracket for it.
Do you feel your department is fully staffed?
Yes, but let me equate that for you. Currently on paper right now, I'm holding 32 vacancies. Okay, a year ago when I took over, we had 90-something vacancies. So we've done a really good job of making sure our recruitment is in place, our manning is in place, our efforts are in place to bring people back. What happens is, first of all, police work is very difficult. And if you see the current world we live in, people don't necessarily look at this as a calling anymore. It's just kind of maybe a job, or I'll try it out. So it's different. All of us are probably working 20 to 30 years before we retire. This younger generation, they're not sure yet. Sometimes I get someone in for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Sometimes people know it's a calling. So that's part of the dynamic. Part of the dynamic as well is it's tough out there. It's tough. I know everyone in here pretty much probably loves us and appreciates us. Unfortunately, a lot of times people we encounter on their worst day, it is a very tough business we're in. But we do it because it is a calling and because of the rewarding things we can do. But it takes a very special skill set to be able to do this job. On top of that, people need to be happy when they come to work. And I feel like we've done a lot in the last year and a half to make sure our employees are happy to come in that building, that we're very, very much valuing the mental and physical well-being of everyone. We've got a lot of things in place now for our physicals, for our mental well-being. The NRS now requires mental health checks once a year, which I think is great. Anything we can do to knock down that stigma, to make sure our personnel are asking for help and then we get them help, that's what we need. On top of that, all my officers are our best recruiters. They are now out telling everyone they love cop work and they love Henderson, which has helped with my recruitment as well. If you saw the last Academy of graduation, over 75% of those that graduated all had some sort of connection to the department, whether they're sons or daughters, cousins, friends of friends. Everybody's coming back because they want to be part of this community and work here. On paper, for staffing levels, patrol is fully staffed on paper. Unfortunately, right now, I have about 15 officers that are either on FMLA, light duty, or modified duty. So again, on paper, we're fully staffed. Unfortunately, when I have those vacancies, it cuts into my staffing. But just so you know, on patrol, we have minimum set thresholds that we meet every day. We never shortchange the community. If that means I have to call people in, hold people over, pay some overtime, we do that. So my numbers in patrol and who's out there in the community for you visible never changes. We have a minimum threshold. In where some of these vacancies are landing right now, some of them are for the new area command. So again, 32 might sound like a lot, but as I push us into the new area command, those are those vacancies that are coming. And just to put it in perspective, right now, the calls for service that are in the new area command are about 50% less than the rest of the valley. So that's why we know we can slowly push more personnel out there, because the call volume is 50% less, because we're not fully developed out in Inspirada yet. So as they continue to develop and build in, we continue to push the resources and beef up our manning. We also have a few vacancies that I've asked for that I'm holding, so I will backfill those when they come. I want more people in traffic, right? I want more people out there handling my traffic stuff. I want a few more people in different investigative units to help with those call volumes. So again, 32, considering, I think North Las Vegas, when I talked to their chief a few weeks ago, she said they're holding about 100 vacancies. Now again, part of their vacancies is they just opened a new area command. So it sounds high, but as you're building into a new area command and getting ready to split your valley into 4s instead of the 3s we have, those numbers naturally come in. So for staffing, and then I'll tell you right now, next summer, I will ask for 50 more police officers. So again, if you come ask me next summer and say, what are my vacancies? I'll say 50. The reason why is because I'm building for the future. I don't want to wait and have to ask for these positions after I need them. I want to ask them on the front end. So now, as we go and they give me more positions to spread out through the valley, I'm keeping up with the growth, with the call volume, with what my officers need, the equipment and techniques they need to have out there, and we're continuing to, again, be that visible presence, which is a deterrent. Yes.
Any other questions?
I think we have one up here and back there. I'll make sure they get to you.
Oh, okay, hi.
Hi.
First of all, thank you all for your service. Second, you had mentioned there were some volunteer opportunities that citizens get involved in. How do we find out about those?
This gentleman up here in the white shirt is going to talk to anybody who wants to be a volunteer. He works for us. He's amazing. He actually told me he came here he's supposed to be at work, but he came here to be with us first before he goes into the station to help us. And again, we have a full-time volunteer coordinator who does everything for us. I think I have over 100 that work animal control, volunteer their hours, because again, our furry friends need somebody to kind of take care of them and help us out until we get them to forever home. And then we have people sprinkled throughout all of our area commands, our detention center. We could not do it without our volunteers. We just couldn't. They are amazing. And so yes, thank you for asking that, and we'll make sure he can get you all that information. Yes.
I was wondering, how many actual policemen do you have in your
The whole
precinct there.
department?
Yes.
Okay,
right
so
now.
we have about 463
Right in
officers
Enspirada?
that, no, not in Inspirada. So
Okay.
I'll break down the high and then break it down for you. So I have 463 sworn officers through the entire Henderson Police Department. I have another 110 that work our detention center. They're also sworn officers that work in our detention center. And then we have over 250 professional staff throughout the entire Henderson Police Department that, again, are support for all of us. For the Inspirada and Green Valley area, we have 6 shifts that deploy out. So we have 2-day shifts, that 7 days a week, right? So we have 1 overlap day. We have swing shift, 7 days a week, 1 overlap day. Graveyard, 7 days a week, 1 overlap day. Each minimum threshold is usually a certain amount of numbers, and I don't usually release the numbers only because it's an officer safety issue. But I can tell you we have full staffing that deploys out every day to monitor. And then everything's broken down into beats. We call them beats. So you have an area command, which right now for you all would be Central Area Command. And then we have 6 beats. Each officer is assigned a specific beat, and then the additional officers are secondary to each beat. So you always have at least 1, if not 2 officers assigned to each beat. Now again, understand if a call for service comes out over here, they will flood this way, whoever's available. So even though they're assigned to this beat, and we like them to have beat integrity, we like them to stay in these beats and proactively patrol until a call for service comes out. And then if they're the ones that are available that have to go, we do have to send them, and then they come back, if that makes sense. Because we never want calls holding. We don't want people waiting for us to get there. And again, if you understand how Henderson is, we provide a different type of service than everyone else in the valley, and it's not a knock on any of our other agencies. But in many of these other areas, for example, if you live in Las Vegas and your car gets broken into, you are going to the police station to file a report. It's just because they are so busy and how large that area is. For Henderson, your car gets broken into and you call us, we come out to your house, we process the car, our officers know how to pull prints, how to take photos, how to fully document, how to do report, and then send it to the right area so that it gets followed up on. We do also have our own lab. So we have our own lab, forensic lab, where we do blood, drugs, footprint, latent print. We do everything in-house. We have one of the only 2 certified footprint examiners in the state of Nevada that works for our lab. So again, a lot of stuff goes on, and we make sure that everybody's fully trained to provide, again, a certain service to Henderson, because this is the kind of community we want, where our officers are on scene, fully trained to help you guys with everything.
Thank you for your service, and I think police officers should be paid a lot more rather than the politicians.
Thank you. Did you guys hear that? Thank you very much.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So my backyard faces Sun City Anthem.
Uh-huh.
And the speed that is going on back there is tremendous. So my question is about the speed radar areas. I saw 2 really bad accidents. I live on Sun City Anthem between Hayden Creek and Thunder Bay, which seems to be a really bad area. And so my question is about speeding and speeding traps.
So when you typically see those radars, or they're not radars, but when you typically see electronic signs that we have up that are showing your speed limit, that's data for us. So what that is doing is collecting data for us so that we can show, we'll put them up for about a week, and then our traffic officer will review that data and say, yep, everybody's averaging 10 or 15 miles over per hour up there, and then we flood it, right? And we still do it anyways, we don't wait for the data, but sometimes people will say, hey, there's all this speeding, and then we'll do the data, and it's maybe not during the times we think, it's during other times. So not only does it pull the data for us, it gives us time frames. So now if my heavy speeders are between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., that's when I know where to deploy my resources heavy into that area and start making a dent in that. So those are what those things do. They don't capture plates and they don't capture individual information. We physically have to do that because, again, state law is very strict on how we do those things. But again, that's another example of how we use technology to push our deployment and resources there. And Officer Alcantara, will you write that intersection down, and I'll make sure traffic goes back up there and checks that area.
We'll take 2 more questions.
Good morning. I have 2 questions. One of them is actually related to that. I understand the Sun City Anthem, but what about the community roads? We are parallel to Eastern, and especially during rush hour, we have cars flying by 45, 50 miles an hour. Is there anything that can be done about that, is my first question.
Yes, we'll put our resources out there and see what's going on. Again, Eastern's a weird street because it pops in and out of Metro and us, but like I said, we don't police by boundaries. We know if I pull you over in Henderson, but then you end up stopping in Metro, or if I saw the traffic violation in Metro and I pull you over in Henderson when you cross that little line, we still know how to cite you and put you in the correct court, because that's really all it goes down to. It doesn't matter where I cite you, I just have to put you in the right court. So we can pull people over on the freeway, we can pull them over throughout the whole valley. We also have what's called joining forces. So if you see robust efforts of all different agencies on bikes in certain hot spots during the weekend, those are grant funded by the state and called joining forces, and it's the way we can put a force multiplier of mass people out there and try to put a dent in things. But we know Eastern is, yes, very much a problem area.
My second question is, when you said, for example, 911 is down and you push out information, where do you push out information when the regular resources are not available? Where do we find reliable information that is coming from you in emergency circumstances?
Yeah, we have social media apparatuses. We have Nextdoor app, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, and we will make sure we have a QR code that everyone can look at and sign up for if you want to be a part of those. We push a lot of information out on those PSAs and other information to make sure we can get everything out to the valley to make sure that you guys are always informed when stuff's going on. And of course, our media outlets, they're always very great with helping us to be informative, but again, they only go on air so many times. Where our social media apparatus is run 24/7, I have PIO officers that are assigned to just make sure the community is updated on everything.
Because of our scheduled program, we have to stop our question here.
Okay, I will be here after if you guys have any questions, and thank you again for all your time. We appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, let's give her a hand. Chief, thank you so much. And I want to go ahead and reemphasize the recruitment efforts. The team is doing a great job of finding qualified individuals. Okay, I live in Henderson, I police Henderson. I don't want just a random, unqualified person to show up and assist me in a time of need. Does that make sense? And I don't want the same thing for you guys. So I want to make sure that you guys receive the best quality, best service, best customer service, best service possible on possibly your worst day. I want to make sure we keep that standard. Chief covered it, but we want to make sure we keep that going. Okay, so next up we have Sergeant Adams, K-9 units. Give him a hand.
Good morning. If I'm not using the mic right, please yell at me because technology is not my friend as much as it is Chief's, so I do the best I can. Like Julio said, my name's David Adams. Right now I'm the lucky person that's in charge of the K-9 unit. We have 6 humans and we have 11 dogs. So we have 5 of those dogs with us today, and afterwards we'll do a demonstration out back. And I have all day, so if we don't get K-9 questions in during this, like I said, I'll be out there and they're going to give me another microphone and I'll be able to probably answer everything you can think of. Also with me are 2 of my other humans, Caleb Barr and Jared Kneisberg. And just so you understand the raffle a little bit better, if you can spell Jared's last name properly, you win. All right, just to keep it going though, right now, like I said, we have 11 dogs. The reason the number of dogs don't match up with the people is because we're lucky enough to work 2 different types of dogs. You can do 1 dog for multiple disciplines, but what we have found is that if you focus 1 dog on 1 job, you typically get a better result. Unfortunately, Chief supports that, and we've been able to maintain that over the years, and it works out very well for us. The 2 different types of dogs we have are, one is what we call a patrol service dog. That is probably what you envision when you think of a patrol dog, a bigger, bulkier, pointy-eared dog. What those dogs do is, the simple way I like to explain it is, they look for bad people and things that bad people had with them. And the way that they do that is through their nose, which is about, let's see, 50 to 250. So it's 5 times more powerful than a human nose on average, is at least what the scientists tell me. And what that allows them to do is it picks up an odor that's emanated from the human body that's not perceptible to you and me. So if somebody commits a crime, they want to harm an officer, they want to do something, they've done something violent, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be violent, but a type of crime that we could use the dog to find them, and it just might end a little bit differently because it wasn't a violent crime. But what happens with that is when somebody does commit that crime and they flee from the police or whatever that circumstance is, there's a certain amount of fight or flight that happens to their body. It would sort of be like if I was to randomly pick up people and say, hey, I need you to stand up and do a dance routine. Some of you might be great with that, but some of you might start to sweat a little bit. You feel that little bit of a pinch in your stomach. Remember that from elementary school when the teacher called on you? So yeah, so what happens when your body reacts that way, it actually puts off a substance called apocrine. I won't get into all of that because it's over my head. Again, it's just what they tell me is true and I believe it. So what our dogs do, and again, going back, our dogs aren't tracking dogs like what you saw back in Cool Hand Luke when they got all the bloodhounds out and went traveling through the swamps after the guys. What those are nose down dogs. They are literally tracking somebody step for step. What our dogs do is they're looking for that odor up in the air. So those dogs are nose down, our dogs are nose up. And they're trying to find that odor and follow it into the wind. So what challenges us is we have to monitor all those things. If a strong wind is blowing on our back, blowing that direction, and we're trying to follow that bad guy, and our dog's going in that direction, where do you think the bad guy really is? He's probably behind us. So that's where we have to figure out that the wind is blowing in that direction. Our dogs are interested in that odor they're trained to find, so we need to put our dog in the proper direction, and that's how we work together with them. And when I say they look for things that the bad guys had with them is, say they've stolen a cell phone. They snatch your cell phone off the dinner table at the restaurant that you're at, and they go running. We're able to figure out about where they are, and we figure they're hiding in a general area. Well, we catch the bad guy, we have everything we need to take him to jail, but your cell phone is now missing. So while that bad guy was running with your cell phone, that same odor that I'm talking about, because it's emanated pretty much throughout the body, is actually being transferred to that item. So what we then transfer our dog to is sort of that nose down thing, but they're looking for an article now. So we give them a different command that tells them to get their nose on the ground. They're looking for the same odor. They're not looking for footprints, and they're not looking for, what the shirt smelled like that we were given because they left it behind. They're looking for that exact same odor that has now been transferred to the item that's missing. So those are the two things that our patrol service dogs can do. Our other type of dog is a narcotics detection dog. Those dogs are trained to look for three things that nobody can have ever. There's no legal use for these three things: methamphetamine, heroin, and cocaine. Like I said, doctors can't give those to you. Teachers can't give them to you. A lot of times I'm telling this to the elementary school kids, and I say your parents can't give them to you. I think that might not play in this room as much, but so those things, and the big deal about that is you all know if you get stopped on a traffic stop, and say for whatever reason we've got a young zealous cop and he wants to say, can I search your car? You guys know under most circumstances you can say no, right? There's enough of an education of what's right and wrong out there that most people know that now. Well, if for some reason at the exact same moment that is happening, Officer Barr is working his canine partner around your vehicle, and he gives us what we call a change of behavior on your vehicle, you no longer have the right to say no. So we have a Fourth Amendment right that a human being standing there in uniform can't take from you that a little fuzzy dog now can. And that's a very, very big deal. And that's why that dog, I'm talking about Caleb here, so with his partner Hank, his initial training before he was allowed to go work the road with him was 200 hours long. And he had to detail that in a book, basically, that if ever called to question, he has to submit for review. And from that point on, and this is for both dogs, not just the narcotics dogs, we are held to a standard of an hour training per day to stay on top of them. So within our work day, in regards to, trying to keep our cars clean, trying to keep our dogs clean, trying to respond to the calls where we may or may not be needed, we have to stop at some point and train for 1 hour for each dog that we work with. I work with a single patrol dog. Both of them work with one dog each. So they have 2 hours of responsibility every day of training their dogs. So what we teach our dogs to do, there's no voodoo, there's no magic. We typically pick dogs that are a little bit, based on their natural traits, that are a little bit more suited to these behaviors. But like, for instance, if one of you has a dog at home that when it can't find its toy, you walk into your living room and the couch cushions are all over the place and the blankets are thrown, that dog would probably be a great narcotics dog. Because that is the natural trait that we're looking for. So typically our narcotics dogs, where I said like the patrol dogs are the more what you're picturing, the big bulky dogs. These are more the dogs that those of you that may have ever hunted or know people that do, we call them bird dogs, because those are the kind of dogs that like to just stick their nose in the dirt and run around and look for things. One of the dogs that we brought back from Lackland Air Force Base, we have 3 dogs that we actually adopted from the DoD military dog program, and I'm pretty proud of that. We went out there to pick up my dog, and they said, just for fun, do you want to see this Weimaraner? And it took me a minute to remember what a Weimaraner was, and I'm still not certain I'm saying it properly, but they brought him out. And much like I just described what might happen in your living room, we just pretended to throw a ball out in the field for this dog. And when he was done, we could have planted crops because he pretty much tilled the field looking for that imaginary toy that we never threw. So we snatched him up and we brought him back, and he's an award-winning narcotics dog now. So like I said, thank you. But like I said, it's just so you know, for your own personal world, dog training is just patience, time, and repetition. There's no magic tricks. People that want to charge you $10,000 to keep your dog from standing up on the kitchen counter, you can pay them, but you can do it if you're willing to donate those 3 things to that dog. You can teach most any dog to do most anything. So just like I said, we're going to have lots of time. I know I'm trying to cram a lot in because I usually do this for like an hour with a slideshow and plenty of time for questions. I'm not going to take the time for the questions now because I have all the time in the world after this, including the demonstration, and we'll go through pretty much anything you guys might need. Does that sound fair? All right, thank you. I have no idea how long that was.
Let's give him a hand. Sergeant Adams, K-9 unit, here we go. So, little backstory on my end. I was on the SWAT team for 9 years, and I worked alongside K-9 handlers. We have the best in the valley, I tell you that right now. All right, I am confident that the dog can walk past me, this side, and then this side, without biting me. So they do a great job. They log a ton of hours. They're a great tool to have, and I'm glad they're on our side. Next up, Officer Kenny from the Harrison Police Department. Give him a hand.
All right. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for being here. Aside from our position, we have one of these jobs that everybody always has questions about SWAT. What do we do? Why do we have a SWAT team? We have such a safe area. Why do we need it? So we love being out here for the opportunity to explain to you guys why you have a SWAT team, what we do, and the necessity and the service that we do provide for our city. So first off, as Sergeant Legato said, my name is Mike Kenny. I've been a police officer with City of Henderson for 17 years, and I've had the pleasure of being on our SWAT team for the last 10 years. I'm a little biased. I will say that being on SWAT is the best gig in the department. I truly love what we do, and our mission and the objectives are in line with our departments, and it's awesome. What we primarily do, we've got many functions that we focus on. Our main job that we do is pre-planned search warrants for our detectives. And what that means is a crime has been committed. Our detectives will go out and investigate it. They've identified a suspect. And for whatever reason, this suspect has what we call qualifiers, to where it's going to be safer for SWAT, somebody with tactical experience, to go out and take this person into custody. Qualifiers can be things such as the person's criminal history, the crime itself. Does it involve violence? Was there a weapon used? Have they implied use of a weapon? Even the fortifications on the homes. Just like everyone probably tries to fortify their houses with security cameras, security gates, security film, things like that. Believe it or not, suspects do the exact same thing to try to keep us out. So when detectives go out and do their intelligence and they determine that, hey, this might be better suited for SWAT, that's when we get called. Aside from pre-planned search warrants, we do extensive training. A lot of stuff that we train for are incidents that we hope never happen. A few have happened in the last few years since I've been there. Things such as active assailant, hostage rescue. We train extensively in these areas. We hope that these situations never happen in our communities. Unfortunately, we're in a growing area. We're reactive. We can't decide what someone's going to do or how they're going to be in a situation. So we're there to help resolve that situation. We do a ton of dignitary protection. Throughout the course of the year, we will get politicians that come into town. We will work with our partners within other agencies, the Secret Service, ATF, U.S. Marshals, to help provide site security and protection for those politicians or candidates when they're in town. With the election season coming up, we'll probably be busy because we have a whole bunch of folks coming into town. Those are primarily a lot of the things that we focus on, and we train extensively. One of the big things that I want to reassure you is you all have a very professional, very capable SWAT team. Our SWAT team is made up of, we have 18 members, and then we have a sergeant and a lieutenant that oversee us. The way that our team is split up is we have 10 members that are full-time members. What that means is our primary job is SWAT and only SWAT. That's what we do every day. When we're not doing search warrants or responding to high-priority calls for service that might need our expertise, we are, this is what we're doing. The other 8 people that are on our team are what we call alternate members. What alternate members are is they're assigned to patrol, but they come to all of our training. They go through our SWAT school. They're trained with the same tactics we are. They come on all of our calls, but their primary responsibility is patrol work. And it's actually a really great asset to have because they're on the street. If there's a situation that's starting to escalate, they can be a great resource to the supervisors on scene to start getting things put in place for us, getting intel to us, start actually providing some really good information to the patrol officers on scene and the supervisors to kind of get things ready. So if we do get called out, we have a lot of information that we can use to our advantage before we even show up. Technology-wise, we've got some great technology. Thanks to a lot of the grants we've gotten recently and from a lot of help from our city itself and also from Chief Chadwick, we've gotten a lot of great technology, which we've brought today so some of you guys can check it out outside when we're done here. We brought one of our armored vehicles. The particular one that we brought, we just got last year, and that houses a lot of our robotics functions. So we have several robots and drones that we use, and when we go outside, we can explain the functions of those. That particular armored vehicle that we got, we're the only agency in the Southwest United States that currently has that technology. So we're super proud of that, and it's a great asset to have within your community. Outside of that, we do a ton of training. We train in-house at least once a week. We train next to our K-9 units pretty extensively, as well as with our crisis negotiators. And we, on the regular basis, we'll train with our other partners in town, Las Vegas Metro, North Las Vegas, and some of the federal assets too. We will do joint training operations so everybody's on the same page. So, you know, if one of these large-scale incidents happen, when everybody shows up and we start commingling with everybody else, everybody's on the same page. On the technology side as well, we've recently just got night vision capabilities, which is a huge advantage, especially because a lot of our operations occur at night or in low light situations. This has been super helpful already for us, just with, you know, being able to be in a situation or on an operation and not expose ourselves because we have to use a light to see where we're going. This has also been very helpful. We've had a couple situations where patrol has had to look for an individual that is in a large desert area in the middle of the night. We've been able to use that technology to help them to locate suspects, locate missing property, things like that. And it's been a great asset to what we have. Like I said, though, we have a very professional, very capable SWAT team. We are able to respond to anything, and we have a great partnership with our neighboring jurisdictions. We will help them out, they will help us out, and it's quick as a phone call, and that can just be to supplement equipment, manning. We have a great relationship. And again, we are here for all of you. You might not always see us, but again, if that call comes, we are going to be there and we're going to handle that situation. For us, a peaceful resolution is what we want every single time. I'm sure you guys have seen SWAT on TV. Imagine the exact opposite of that. That's what we do, 100%. If they made a show about us, it would be canceled after the pilot because we don't just show up, start kicking doors in, and it's not sensationalized like that. We use quite a few service options when we get called out on a situation. That could be like we have somebody that's barricaded in a house that just committed a crime. In those type of situations, for us to come out, our patrol officers will do a really good job of trying to get these people to surrender. If they don't want to, then it'll get vetted through our chain of command, and our lieutenant will figure out based on the criteria that this person has, I mean, whatever they've done so far, if we need to come out. Typically for us to come out on an active barricade situation, what that basically means is someone's committed a felony crime, they have a weapon or have indicated that they have a weapon, and they're refusing to submit to police authority, meaning that the police are out there at their house or apartment, they're making announcements, and that person just doesn't want to come out. Typically, we will get called on that. We aren't just going to show up and just guns blazing, kicking in doors, and handling business. We will do everything we possibly can to negotiate with these folks for a peaceful resolution. That is our goal. We are a life-saving organization, and that's what our focus is. Now, there are situations such as hostage situations, active assailants. We don't have time to sit and negotiate. We have to go in and handle business. Know that your SWAT team will do that because peaceful resolution, no matter how that looks, is our main goal at the end of the day. So again, as Sergeant Adams said, we'll take some time for questions here afterwards. We have our Bearcat that's parked out front here. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of new technology that we can show off to you guys. And please, answer any questions you have, we'll answer after this. And thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
All right, that was Officer Kenny, Henderson SWAT. Give him a hand again, one more time. Thank you. Okay, next up, we're going to have Community Relations Officer Extraordinaire, Alejandro Alcantara. He is, when I tell you he's top-notch, he really is top-notch. He knows programs left and right. He knows what's going on. He definitely has, Chief talked about the beats and stuff like that, area commands. He knows what's going on within the beats and area commands. So he's going to come up here, talk about some resources available to you, cover some stats, and we talked about some QR codes. We'll cover that as well, but let's give him a hand. Alex. Thank you.
Good morning. For those of you that I have not met, since I've been doing this for a little bit, my name is Officer Alejandro Rodriguez Gutierrez Plasencia Rivera Martinez de la Cruz de la Vega Alcantara. And I actually just go by Officer Alex these days. The chief has approved that because it's just easier for people to say my name that way. I am with the Community Relations Unit. I, back home, was on the SWAT team with my previous agency, but I can tell you that, yeah, it is the coolest job there is, but this is the second coolest job right here because unlike SWAT members who are going to protect you, which we always want them to do, you know, I think community relations really has a good connection with the community because we're talking to you guys all the time. And you guys are inviting us to things like this. So this is really great. I'm not going to take up a lot of time because I know we have a great presentation. You're definitely going to want to check out the armored vehicle. I learned some new things about it when I first came in. Community relations, there's 3 things we try to focus on to keep crime, to keep crime down in our communities. Neighborhood watch, capture, and what we call our SEPTID home inspections. The picture there is just showing you what a house looks like. That's not very good when it comes to line of sight and then after it's been cleaned up, which is very important. Neighborhood watch, just real quick, you guys have a great neighborhood watch going on here with your 19 communities. I've been working with Don for, I don't know, what, 3.5 years now? And it keeps growing. Obviously, some people move, that's fine. But believe it or not, like the chief said, this whole thing is about teamwork. And we need you guys as much as you need us. So when you're doing neighborhood watch, you know, make sure that, 1, you sign up with the program. 2, you know who your neighbors are, all right? You know their phone numbers and everything else. You know what cars they drive, who their kids are, what their schedules are. Because those people that actually know their neighborhood better are that much better at spotting suspicious activity than not, okay? So it is a very good program. Some people have said it's outdated. I don't think so. I think neighborhood watch is only as good as the community makes it, kind of like the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. The next program we have, obviously, is capture. It's a real big, we're really big into capture. We want to get our numbers up. If you guys are not part of this program, just real quickly, it's a database of everyone that has security cameras. Doesn't matter which kind of security cameras you have. It's just a database that has security cameras. And the reason why that's important is if something happens in your community, patrol officers or detectives can pull up that map, and they can see who's participating because there's a camera icon on your house. They can click that camera icon, they get your email, your phone number, and your name, and they reach out to you. We do not have access to your footage, okay? I've got to say this twice. We do not have access to your footage. Some people think they don't want to sign up because they think Big Brother's watching. That's not the case. The only data, videos, pictures we get is what you provide to us. And this has actually helped our detectives find people of interest, which leads to suspects, which leads to arrests. It actually expedites their investigations. I've spoken to Officer Papix and Officer Lilly. They love cameras, and they love when you're participating in the capture program. So if you haven't signed up for this and you do have cameras, even if you just have the Ring doorbell, okay, please sign up for this program because you never know when your camera footage can make the difference of solving a crime. And then what we have is our home inspections, CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. This is something that our unit does for Henderson residents free of charge. You guys can sign up for this through our website. I'll go through that here in the end. And basically what it is we're coming and we're doing a home security audit for your residents, okay? We're not telling you what to do. We're just making recommendations, such as lighting, what kind of bulb you should be using. Yes, LED bulbs, but what kind of LED bulb? Do you want something with 5,000 Kelvin? No, you don't. Do you want something with 3,000 Kelvin? Yes, you do. I can get into the science behind that later. Low vegetation, you want that clear line of sight. Target hardening, access control. One of my favorites, hostile vegetation. Being from Arizona, I love cactus. Okay, cactus is a good deterrent. So is rose bushes and things like that. So we'll come out, and the typical house will only take about 30 minutes, but of course we'll stand by and answer any of your questions. So we do recommend that you do all three of these things because each one is a layer. You can do neighborhood watch and not do the other two. That's fine. Or you can do the CPTED inspection and neighborhood watch and not do capture because you feel Big Brother's watching. That's fine. But your 2 layers, it's better that you have 2 layers than no layers. Because if this is where you are being the target of a burglary or a home invasion or any other crime, and you're following these 3 layers, we're going to take you down to here. Maybe not here where we want you, but I would rather be here than back up here. And since I've been writing articles for the Sun City Anthem community for the 3.5 years that I've known Don, each one of those articles that I send your neighborhood watch is an additional layer of protection. So if you're not reading those, please read those because, guys, I write cool stuff, okay? I don't write stuff like what to do when a police pulls you over. You know, we all know that. I don't write holiday tips. We all know what our holiday tips is. You know, I write cool stuff. So with that being said, hopefully this works. I do have some statistics for you. Keep in mind these statistics are only through last week, all right? As the chief said, we're down on violent crimes, which is really good. We do have an uptick in property crimes, and Sun City Anthem has had a little bit of an uptick. If you look at the first one or the third one, I'm sorry. Actually, I misread this. Larcenies, you're kind of high, but actually your burglaries are pretty good. Don and I were talking. Don, I did give you misinformation. You are correct. This up until last week in 2023, you guys had 19 burglaries. This year you had 8. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You guys are almost halfway through. Halfway less. We still have the rest of the year to go through, so it's really, really important that you guys stay vigilant. Okay, know your communities. Join Neighborhood Watch. Sign up for capture. Have a home CPTED inspection. But overall, this is really good. I believe you were actually higher in 2022. I think it was 27 burglaries. So you guys have a trend right now that's going really good. There's one thing I do want to point out, and this is what I'm going to close with. Because your community and Sun City McDonald Ranch are 2 of the biggest communities I work with on a regular basis. I found that there was a trend in Sun City McDonald Ranch that people are not reporting their burglaries. Okay? It's very, very, very important that you guys report your burglaries or any other crimes. This is why. Because when the chief goes and asks the city for more manpower, one of the things they do is they go look at the statistics. And the statistics will justify how many people we need, how many people we will get, if any. If everyone's ashamed, I understand that they don't like being a victim, they're a little bit embarrassed, but they're not reporting it, you're not giving the stats that the chief needs when she goes to the city to make that recommendation for 50 new officers, okay? If the stats are low in the Sun City Anthem area, the Inspirada area, we may get, let's just pick a number. Let's say we may get 30 officers, but this area might only get 3 while the other beats get 27. Does that make sense? So it's really important that if there is a burglary or something like that that happens, please report it because we definitely need those stats. And with that said, if you guys want to reach out to us, we do have a phone number, 702-267-5100. Maria Dolashal is our administrative assistant. She is the glue that keeps this unit together. She is fantastic. She'll be there to answer your questions. If you have any basic questions, whether it be captured or Neighborhood Watch, you can email us at neighborhoodwatch@cityofhenderson.com. If it's not Neighborhood Watch related, it's okay. You can still send an email to that. You can still send a question to that email. And reference the home inspections. You do have to go to our webpage. We're trying to track them now more than ever with the system that we had called Comcate. It's a little complicated. It's not that complicated, really. Just when you go to the website, go up to Contact Us. All right, it's an orange button. You're going to press that. You're going to get another button that's purple that says Contact Us. Press that. And then all you got to do is scroll down to Police on the left-hand side and look for the question that says, how do I schedule a home security inspection. And then from there, you just follow the prompts. The good thing about this system is that you will get an answer from somebody, all right? With ComCake, we get it sent to our unit. If it gets sent to the wrong unit, they send it to us. Maria will go ahead and reach out to you, schedule an appointment, and somebody will come out, make contact with you prior, and will come out and do that home inspection for you. I'm going to be here as well with everybody else, so we'll save the questions to then. But thank you guys for coming. It's great to see you all again, and hopefully we'll continue to see you in the future, all right? And I'm turning it over to Sergeant Julio Delgado. Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't get it. I do have QR codes for you guys to look at. We had a little technical difficulties, but when you guys are doing the raffle, I'm going to pull it up. It's going to have QR codes for our social media, X, whatever you guys use, Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, and you guys can go ahead and take those pictures and use those QR codes. All right? Thank you very much.
All right, let's give him a hand. Alex, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Okay, well, this was going to wrap up the presentation portion of things. You guys all got raffle tickets? Yeah, I got mine as well. So make sure we get that going, get them ready. Thank you, K9. Thank you, SWAT, for coming out. Thank you, Alex. And thank you guys. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So give yourselves a hand, please. And if you are looking for volunteer status, my man up here, white shirt, front center, he's going to be the resource that you want to reach out to. If not, you can call the 267 number that was up there, and we'll be able to put you in the right direction. Okay, all right, so thank you for your time. See you next time.
Okay, thank you very much. And one final great big hand for the Henderson Police Department. We are so fortunate. Okay, now the moment you've all been waiting for, which is the raffle. So we'll draw three raffle tickets for a $100 prize each. We encourage you to use that $100 for some sort of home security device. But of course, once it's in your hands, you're in charge. So with that, Claire, who looks honest? This lady looks honest. Oh, that's right. We could have done Officer Allen, yeah. Okay, if I call your number, just come on over here and we'll take your information and give you the prize. Oh, shoot. Yeah.
All right, lucky number 4159644. There it is, right over there.
Okay, come on over.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Give him a hand.
Okay, now let's draw the second one here.
All right, so the next number we have is 2191984. Right over there, winner, winner. Chicken dinner. All right. Let me just double check. She is good to go. And the last one of the day is, all right, folks, this one we have number 41596661. Oh, dang. He was, let's take a look here. Oh, no, sir, you got an 8 right. No, I'm just kidding, you won. So there you go.
Thank you. How do you like that? I was getting ready to ask you a question. Thank you, Dawn. I'm going to put it on black and double it.
Just remember, Amazon Day is October 8th and 9th. So if you guys want some cameras at discounted prices, Amazon. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention up there, National Night Out is coming October 8th. It's next Tuesday. It's our big event where we have police, fire, other local law enforcement, along with other vendors and resources for the community. It's going to be at our Water Street Plaza downtown. It's free of charge. If you guys have kids, grandkids, or there's just a kid in you and you want to come and see our vehicles and talk with our officers, please come down. We're looking to always have a good turnout. We've had a good turnout the last couple of years. I'd love seeing you. I'm going to be there. Sergeant Delgado is going to be there. The chief's going to be there. You know what? Even Sergeant Adams is going to be there. So come down and talk to us.
Sir.
Sergeant Adams, you going to meet back there? All right, so for those of you who couldn't hear, they're going to give 15 minutes, and then they're going to start up over here on the north lawn. So they can do a couple demonstrations with the dogs and be there to answer all your questions. All right, thanks for coming, folks. Hey, National Night Out, October 8th. I want to see you guys there, all right? Don, you too.
So the thing laying on the ground is called a bite pillow. It's just something that, like I said, that we train with them on. They're all very familiar, and it's a lot of fun. Patrol dogs, before you go work the streets, typically has about 400 hours of training. A little bit different look to them, right?
It's hit or miss. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Us to a bad situation, we'll do it every time. So that's why we've added the drones, and we've gotten more robots. We used to only have the big one. We got this one last year. As quickly as you can drop that ramp and flip that top up.
Yeah.
Our robot guys, they train extensively on this. They can, from the time we hit the ground, they can have these out probably within.
Probably the same guys that do the battle.
So it's like us to a bad situation, we'll do it every time. So that's why we've added the drones, and